And joining us for more on tonight's topic is Sarah Dan, Area Supervisor for the Food and Nutrition Services for Sarasota County Schools. And I appreciate you coming in tonight, Sarah. You have been with the school district for 20 years, although you don't look old enough to have worked there for 20 years. How have you seen participation in this program grow from when you started to now?
That's a great question. In 1997, our director, Dr. Beverly Gerard, wanted to reach out to the community with this program. Back then we had about 25 to 27 sites. Now we're close to 50 sites. We're also doing outreach into DeSoto County as well to help our neighbors to the east. So we've seen increase in sites, participation, and obviously increase in partnership with our community members.
What I'm trying to get at too is what percentage of students in Sarasota County were in the program when it began, and what are you seeing now?
Well, obviously there's been a huge increase in students that are eligible for free and reduced. When I started with the district, our free and reduced percentages ranged around 30 to 33%.
Of all students? Of
all students. Now half of them are eligible for meal benefits during the school year. So those students may be food insecure when they go home, and what happens when they're out of school.
That seems incredible to me, considering this is one of the most affluent communities in the country. How could almost half of the students who go to the public schools qualify for free and reduced lunch?
Well, we have a large service population in Sarasota County, and obviously the incomes of those families may not be as high. Also, too, many families, when the economic downturn, maybe one or two parents lost their jobs, and so that caused that increase.
And they have not bounced back yet.
We're seeing that it's heading in that direction, but I think the turnaround is slower.
Now, this program over the summer is financed by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, correct?
Yes, it is a U.S. Department of Agriculture's program. So what's really amazing about it, though, is it really outreaches to all aspects of the community. So obviously there's summer break spot or summer feeding sites in schools, but they're at Boys and Girls Clubs, they're at Parks and Recs, they're at churches, they're at libraries. So it's really just an encompassing program that reaches kids everywhere.
How stable has the funding been?
We found that it has been, fairly stable over the years. Obviously, anytime any kind of child nutrition reauthorization happens, there could be concerns.
And I know that there was a lot of talk within the last 2 years about cutting child nutrition budgets by Congress.
Well, and that's why we as a department always tried to be fiscally responsible and really make sure that we're feeding kids, we're balancing our nutrition and our finances.
Now, the other part of this is that you are getting donations from local churches and civic organizations. Could you talk about that?
Well, that is actually going to All Faiths Food Bank. The funding for the food and the staffing for this program in Sarasota County comes from the food nutrition, from the funding we receive from the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
But is the private help that you're getting increasingly important in terms of making all of this work?
Yes. What has happened with our partnerships is we've been able to reach more kids. Also, too, with our partnership with All Faiths Food Bank, we've been able to go into DeSoto County, which doesn't have the infrastructure to provide a feeding program like this in the community. They offer that program in their schools, but their summer school only lasts 3 weeks.
Do you get any feedback from the kids, but more importantly, the parents, in terms of how much this is helping?
We just had a great story that came into my production kitchen this week. We feed at Laurel Park, which is in the Laurel community. We had a mom approach one of our drivers, and she has 8 kids to feed over the summer. And this young man, he's only 20. He drives our food and gets it there hot and on time. And he actually was thanked by her because she wasn't sure what she was going to do over the summer.
Right. And you were talking in Rick's piece that about the importance of proper nutrition for kids during the school years in terms of their ability to return to school at the end of summer and be in a position to learn.
Absolutely. You know, a lot of times in America, we think it's an affluent country, we have plenty of food. However, sometimes over the summer, for some families, that quality of meals may not be there. And so we actually have 7 registered dietitians on staff. I'm one of them. And, you know, we know that good nutrition, kids getting fruits and vegetables and the nutrients those provide is going to help them with growth, but also it helps with learning as well.
Well, let me ask you this. What should we as a community or maybe a society be doing now in terms of helping these kids with nutrition who may not know where their next meal is going to come from that we are not yet doing?
Well, we're doing a lot in Sarasota, which is amazing. The partnership between the All Faiths Food Bank, the community partners like the library, Parks and Recs, that's helping. Getting the word out. If you're not someone that's food insecure, letting people know that this program's available for maybe you have a friend that is. Giving donations to All Faiths Food Bank, volunteering. I know the food bank does food distributions, volunteering at a food distribution. It's a great way to give back to your community.
Even with all of this, are there certain kids who are slipping through the cracks who may not even have the transportation to get to one of these distribution sites, or do you find that from time to time?
That is obviously a big concern of ours, and so those conversations are going on and trying to reach out, making programming affordable for parents for summer camp is a huge component, because we do believe that there are kids in our community that don't have access to programs, may not have access to this program as well. And so we're constantly trying to let families know that this is available so that we can get that nutrition into those kids.
Because I would imagine with a lot of the families, they're so busy, mother and father, or if it's a single member family, going out to work and leaving the kids at home and not having access to either day programs or to getting out to food programs. Like
yes.
This.
And so knowing that these programs are available is helpful. Also, there's food distributions that are going on throughout Sarasota County. The backpack programs and those locations are ways to help families get extra assistance.
Right.
I know many communities also do have food pantries too.
Sarah, I want to thank you for coming in tonight.
Thank
That
you
was
so
a
much.
really important program.